You see that thing there? Choke it up. Another thing there? Choke it up. See that thing there? Choke it up. Another thing there? Choke it up. You see that thing there? Choke it up. That little thing there? Choke it up. If it's teeny weeny, if you're not so beanie, if you're oversized, just get somebody to help you. You see that thing there? Choke it up. Another thing there? Choke it up.
WEFM, the clean, fresh sound.
WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
And we are back with you for another segment of our Activated Mornings program here on WEFM. And Val, I think we should be good now, right? So if you're on the stream, you could just let us know. But I think we should be better now. Rajiv came in, all right? Rajiv came in and Rajiv fixed the problem for us because, you know, we are very able-bodied ladies to an extent. All right, so this is usually time when we get commentary from Kingsley. So Kingsley, if you are able to call, you can go ahead and give us that call now. And I just want to say good morning to Michael Charles, former Commissioner of Police. He would know exactly why it is I'm saying good morning to him, right? So thank you very much. All right, so I haven't seen any indication of Kingsley Collins, so we are going to head into a topic, our scheduled topic, right? So, just something that kind of came to me as I saw something on the weekend, right? And it also was discussed. It was one of the bills that was presented in Parliament, yesterday until I guess this morning. I don't know what time it finished. And it was interesting, right? I found it interesting. So this is from Asvote News Network, and this was dated the 3rd of August. So Leacock, Sinclair Leacock slams $98.5 million loan push, $1 million loan push months before elections. He says we'd be crazy to support it. So opposition MP Major Sinclair Leacock delivered a scathing critique of the government's plan to borrow nearly $100 million just 3 months ahead of the general elections. Speaking at a New Democratic Party meeting in Richmond Park in support of Marco candidate Philip Jackson, Leacock said the move is politically motivated and financially irresponsible. He revealed that the government is seeking parliamentary approval. Well, it would have been yesterday, all right? And for new loans under the 2025 supplementary estimates. So he's saying that according to the official supplementary estimates, the borrowing includes $44.7 million in local loans and EC $53.8 million in external loans. Of the external financing, EC $37.8 million will come from the Republic of China on Taiwan and $16 million from the Caribbean Development Bank. So he states that all of the monies, that it's going to be used for home reconstruction, the phase 3, as well as the National Road Rehabilitation Project under the Ministry of Transport and Works, Lands and Physical Planning. All right. And so in essence, what he's saying is that the monies are going to be used, yes, for cases of national development, but it is also, and part of the money is also going to be used for the port project. But he's saying that coming down to his end, if the people of the Grenadines could wait a year, they can wait 2 more months for the NDP government to get the right things right. He said that we are not against helping our people, but we must do it in the right way. This isn't just about fixing homes, it's about fixing votes. All right. So yesterday, so there's an article from yesterday where it says the opposition refuses to back the 41 million aid package for burial recovery, right? And that article is on St. Vincent Times. Now, why it is that I found it interesting. I ain't talking out of two sides of my mouth, but I can see things from two different points. All right. So let me say that up front. I can understand where Leacock is coming from in a sense where what we tend to find happening in many instances is that there is this sort of recency effect, right? And I don't want to, anyway, I wouldn't quote that. In that many persons sometimes, or some persons tend to vote based on the last positive thing, in a sense, that was done to them or for them, right? But what I find is a little bit ticklish in this situation is that it is, well, in the case of the persons who are affected by burial, in terms of that home reconstruction, home development, etc., it is sort of difficult for you to want to put their lives or their personal development in the sense of getting their lives back to normal on hold on account of not wanting it for it to come across as if it's a push for extra votes coming close to the elections, right? So I thought that was a little bit interesting. And then part of me also wonders, should we actually maybe pass, I don't know if it's a law or whatever could be done, that just before the general elections is announced, that there should be no new borrowing. And the reason why I'm saying it is that, in a sense, you really, when you are in government, you have 5 years to be able to, well, 4 and a piece, years to be able to push the things that you want to push. But what we tend to find is that sometimes coming down to that year of the elections, that last minute push is being done. Now, I can't say that it's totally the case in this situation because of the fact that we have undergone several natural disasters. But I can also see where Leacock was coming from. And I can also see, as I said, I'm talking out of two sides because I can see things from two different angles, right? I can also see that you also can't put the country on hold while you're waiting to call the general elections, right? So I just thought it was something that was interesting and, for us to maybe talk about. What are your thoughts, Dianna?
I agree with putting something in place to say that the government can't borrow money within a certain period leading up to elections. Because in the event that they do not go back into power, that law now becomes the problem of the new government, who probably was against it in the first place. And I think they have a valid reason to worry about getting a loan repaid that they did not borrow. I think that's a valid thing. I'm not too concerned about if something comes up during that period when you're not allowed to borrow any money. I just hope that if something like that is in place, it would cause the governments to think differently and to have things in place, knowing that no matter what happens in this period, you cannot come and say emergency, you are not going to get to borrow any money. So during the time that you are in power, spend wisely and borrow wisely, because in here, there will be no, it's an emergency. We will not accept that. And hopefully they cannot bypass whatever power is in place to not give them that authority to borrow money.
And then the other thing too, it's always this, throwback in your face sort of situation where, let's say, the party that comes into power next, let's say the NDP gets into power, and they are not able. Yes, you can take the call. Let me write that down before I lose my train of thought.
Hi, caller. Good morning. Hello.
All right. If they get into power, in the case of the NDP, and they are met with this national debt, and All right, so just to note, Queens, if you are calling private, you have to show your number. All right, I'm not sure if Queens listening at this time, but Queens, if you are calling, you'd have to show your number. Back to what it is I was saying. If the NDP gets into power and they are faced or they are met with a debt that they have 5 years to try to bring down and they can't bring it down, this would be used against them, right? Yeah. And I always find it so interesting whenever when new governments get into power and they tend to throw that sort of blame back onto what it is that they left for the new party to face, right? And you know how it is that in our environment, in our political environment, that just about everything can be thrown back and can and will be used against the individuals, or can and will be used against the parties. And if the NDP isn't able to bring it down quickly enough, the opposition, which would be the ULP, I'm talking hypothetically here now, they can then throw it back in their faces and say, well, what have you all done? You have not been able to raise revenues to meet this debt, et cetera, et cetera. So it's quite interesting. But I do think that it's a bit of an unfair advantage to take on new loans, knowing that you're that close to a general election.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, it can't.
Wow. Okay.
I'm sorry. Anyways, yes, I definitely think that could happen for that particular part there. Let's see who is calling. Can we go right ahead? Okay. Hi. Hello. Morning, Joshua.
Joshua, morning.
Joshua, you're muted. And we didn't mute you. Push it. Hey.
Yes. I had a feeling you were doing that, Joshua. You truck Sean Bader. All right. All right, Joshua. All right. So,
okay, no. I thought I had a comment here, but no, I don't.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. As I said, I could see it from both sides. So, but we can't be naive to the fact that a lot of the times the last minute push, and as I said, because of the recency effect, that persons tend to remember that last positive thing that was done for them, right? So I walk in on nice paved road, and it just might give me a good enough reason to vote for the government. All right, but as I always say, it always goes back to how do we vote and what it is that we use as our own personal reasons for voting. Again, do we vote best constituency rep, or are we voting for best party, or who we think is the best party? That's always the question. So, yeah.
There's one thing in that I know that we're going to have to go out. We won't discuss this now, but there's one thing in that is interesting to me. In the money that they want to borrow is the part for the port, right? But I think we could probably discuss that maybe, and we definitely discuss that another time, because I find that part very interesting.
How so, though?
More just to get in some more money part. Yeah, I find interesting.
Well,
that's all I'm saying for now.
I mean, the thing for me is that okay, let me not. It's okay. No, it's not anything negative. I was just talking in abstract in terms of what, like when you're doing construction, sometimes you do a budget, and for whatever reason there are overruns, or you might need additional funding. So, but I'd have to go back to a conversation that I had yesterday with somebody to quote the specific things, and I would have to go into the conversation. But yeah, but the thing of it is that, so what would persons prefer to see happen? That the port is almost completed. That if it needs additional financing to push it through to the final stage, what should we do? Just not put that extra money?
Well,
would you leave it?
The discussion.
Would you leave it 90%? It's 90% completed. You would not try to get the money to finish the last 10%?
Well, to be discussed.
All right. All righty. So, all right, we got tea for peace. Okay, let's do. All right, morning, Anita. You come like Kojo this morning. I'm in it. In the next segment. All right. In the next segment, no problem. All right. All right, take care. All righty, so it is 8:02 in SVG, and our time check came to you with the compliments of New Haven Funeral Home.